So the terms voodoo and hoodoo has gotten a lot of attention in the past 15 or 20 years, and even more attention recently. And it seems to be talked about, written about, and presented by the people who are not of African descent, the people who do not carry the voodoo in their bloodlines. And so for all of us who are of African descent, it is very important at this time that we learn what we can about our traditions, that we preserve them, and that we begin to speak about them and document them. Because all too often in our history, our traditions are being documented and spoken about by people who are not a part of the traditions, who are not a part of the culture. Our traditions, our culture needs to be documented by us, spoken about and taught by us to us. So voodoo and hoodoo, both are present here in Louisiana. You have voodoo, you have hoodoo, and a lot of times those terms have been used interchangeably by some of our elders. Now, a lot of people, due to what's in movies right now, due to what's online right now, all of these classes, books, etc., believe that voodoo is a religion and hoodoo is simply magical practices that do not contain spirit at all. That is misinformation. Both voodoo and hoodoo contain spirit. They contain ancestors and ancestor communication. They contain the divine forces of nature, and they contain spirit medicine. The differences in the two don't have to do with the definition. It has to do mostly with the origins of the enslaved Africans who were responsible for bringing these systems, where these enslaved Africans came from. So whenever you're looking at the different African nations, everybody has their particular expression of how they practice spirituality and religion. So one person in one region practices differently, may call things different names, different titles, different terms, but there are lots of similarities. So voodoo and hoodoo, the difference between the two has nothing to do with one being a religion and one not being a religion. They have to do with the origins of the people, the difference between Ewe, Fan, Congo, Akan, and so on. So if you were to come to New Orleans right now and you were to look for voodoo, the first thing that you would see would be a lot of misrepresented tourism. Now, I think that tourism can be used as a tool for teaching. I think it's okay to present this topic to people who may not live in this region, who want to know about voodoo, and particularly people of African descent who want to know about voodoo. The problem here is that most of what's being presented is being presented by people who are not a part of the culture, who did not grow up in the tradition, and who are not of African descent. A lot of the ideas that they present have nothing to do with voodoo as a religion or as a tradition. It has to do with a lot of crazy concepts, a lot of entertainment, and like I said, nothing that has anything to do with anything real. A lot of the real voodoo had to go underground. It was illegal for a time, and even after it was illegal, even still today, you get looked down upon, you get judged by people in the community because you practice. So a lot of people choose to practice, underground. A lot of voodoo today has been preserved in the rural areas of Louisiana as well. So for all people in the United States of African descent, if you're wanting to know where are the remnants of what your ancestors brought here to the United States, it is not gone. It's not lost. It's not like we didn't have anything or we don't have anything. You can find that African culture within the Afro-Creole culture of Louisiana. You can also find it within Gullah culture. It is our job, it's our responsibility to maintain and preserve these traditions, to maintain and preserve this religion. It is our obligation to pass this on and to teach this. And this doesn't just have to do with people who are in Louisiana, who were born in Louisiana, or, as far as Gullah culture, who may be born in South Carolina. This has to do with all of us. When you're thinking about Afro-Creole culture in particular, and you think about Louisiana, we have to remember that before 1803, what was known as the Louisiana Territory took up 1/3 of the United States. So St. Louis, black folks in St. Louis, you are a part of us. All along the Gulf Coast, what was known or what is known as New Orleans Voodoo or Louisiana Voodoo was practiced by these regions all along the Gulf Coast. New Orleans is a port city. So Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, you are a part of us. And let's not forget all of the people of African descent who live in, who live on the West Coast, who live on the East Coast. You're not exempt from this. Most people that I speak to who may be from California and particularly Oakland, a lot of them have parents and grandparents or even great-grandparents who came from Louisiana, who came from Texas. You are a part of us. A lot of people in Chicago, you have parents, grandparents, great-grandparents who came from Louisiana. You are a part of us. A lot of people in New York, the same thing. Parents, great-grandparents, grandparents. You are a part of us. So this belongs to us all. I definitely want to come back and bring some more information, but it's been a pleasure. Merci and thank you.